Putin's speech was the start of this generation's Cuban Missile Crisis. Does the US have the fortitude to act in the same way they did in the 1960s? It's a big question, but joining me now to help answer it is Malcolm Davis from the Australian Strategic Policy Institute. Welcome, Malcolm. Thank you for your time. Let me get straight into it. Is America the global sheriff we may need in the near future?
It is, and it has to be. If America is not there for us, if America turns inward, or if it loses its resolve, then everything is lost, because you would then see the authoritarian states of Russia and China assert themselves without hesitation across the globe, and they would write the rules as opposed to the liberal democracies. So America has to be there for asserting a stable international order that is rules-based, and it has to work with its allies in Europe to achieve this.
It's a huge challenge, though. I mean, a lot of American authority is vested in their commander-in-chief, that's the president. I got to tell you that there's not much I see of Joe Biden that inspires a great deal of confidence. I don't want to, show him failing to walk off a stage again or anything else properly, because, it's kind of diminishes him even further. But how can we trust him and those around him to handle a serious conflict when they've actually botched so many things in the last 18 months or so of their administration?
Well, look, I think, to be fair to Biden, he's actually done quite a good job in relation to Ukraine. He has stood firm in terms of supporting Ukraine with advanced military capabilities, including HIMARS, which has been one of the key capabilities that has allowed the Ukrainians to do this offensive east of Kharkiv. He's making it very clear that if Russia were to attack NATO, then there would be a swift military response. And I think that going into the next few months, where you could see greater risk of Russia as a cornered, defeated power reaching potentially for nuclear weapons, I think Biden and his team probably will have the ability and the resolve to stand firm. And I would also add to that, it's not just about Ukraine. Biden now 4 times has said that America will defend Taiwan if China were to attack Taiwan. That shows resolve. And I think the mistake that has been made is that his White House team have walked back Biden's comments. So I'm not convinced that Biden is the wrong man for the job. I think he's actually doing quite a good job at this point.
Okay, that's a really interesting thing. I ask you this about these proposed referenda in parts of the Ukraine, the Russian-occupied territories there, which, if the people allegedly and they vote to become part of the Russian Federation, how do you see that is going to change Russia's view of the war? And under international law, they might have a point, mightn't they?
Well, no, because the referenda are fake. So it won't change anything on the ground in terms of the Ukrainians in the northern spring and next year launching further offensives, in terms of the US and NATO supporting Ukraine through the provision of advanced military capabilities. The key question there is, will the US provide longer range firepower to the Ukrainians, which the Ukrainians desperately need? That still is uncertain. But I think that the real challenge in terms of those regions being annexed by Russia through fake referenda is that once they are seen to be part of Russia from the perspective of Moscow, an attack by Ukraine into those regions could be used by a desperate Putin to justify the use of tactical nuclear weapons. I hope that doesn't happen. But that, to me, the reading of his speech the other day suggested that he's trying to essentially shape the environment that would allow him to make that choice at a later date.
All right, it's a very concerning time for the world, and I'm sure President Xi is watching things as they play out in Vladimir Putin's orbit and seeing how he can apply that to this part of the world. Malcolm Davis from ASPI, I really appreciate your insights tonight. Thank you.